Well, we are back to cancelling James Charles. He's literally only just recovered from the first cancellation back in like 2018, 2019, and now he's back getting cancelled again. So in case you don't know, I'm sure you probably do, James Charles is known as an influencer in makeup and stuff like this, right? Blew to popularity. Then some serious allegations came out about him being a PDF file and, sleeping with underage boys, even though they were fully aware that the boys were completely underage over Snapchat and stuff. It was completely exposed, and James Charles's reputation went straight down the Swanee. And they never really recovered for the first few years, and there was a mass unfollowing of James Charles. They were one of the quickest channels to ever lose 1 million subscribers, literally seemingly losing it overnight. And their reputation has only just really bounced back, just in time for this next scandal, which is absolutely insane. So obviously 2025 started off pretty quiet for James Charles, but now they're back in the limelight as the controversy involving allegations of a relationship with another guy called Evan Johnson, who is a content creator who is being accused of domestic violence against his now ex-girlfriend Kayla Malik. And, he's had some significant and evolving scandals marked by intense social media backlash, particularly on TikTok, and a complex interplay of accusations, denials, and public sentiment, right? So, let's talk about the timeline of the events, okay? Because this is pretty insane. So on August 24th to January 2025, Kayla Malik alleges that physical and emotional abuse by Evan Johnson during their 9-month relationship, including an incident in August of 2024 in Nashville where Johnson, under the influence of alcohol, assaulted her, leaving visible marks. The abuse escalated with Malik reported choking attempts and one incident where Johnson allegedly broke her jaw, and she ended the relationship in January of 2025. Now, we fast forward to April of 2025. So Malik posts a 2-hour YouTube video titled "He Doesn't Love You," detailing the abuse without directly naming Johnson, but referring to him as Evan. And the video includes photos of bruises, audio recordings, and emotional footage going viral and prompting fans to identify Johnson as the alleged abuser. Then on April 7th, which is only a few days later, Johnson is arrested in Summer County in Tennessee on charges of domestic assault and probation violation, and he's released on a $30,000 bail on the same day. Then fast forward to April 11th of 2025, TikToker Zach Sellers posts a video hinting at a, quote, big influencer housing Johnson during the investigation, later revealing on April 13th that it's actually James Charles, claiming Charles knew of Johnson's alleged abuse. Another woman, Tegan Campbell, who's 18, comes forward on TikTok, alleged Johnson abused her in 2022 during a 5-month relationship, reinforcing the behavior and patterns. So then we fast forward to April 17th, and Malik claims on TikTok that Johnson was arrested once again, though no public record confirms this. And then April 25th, Malik updates her TikTok followers about the upcoming May 7th court hearing, expressing excitement and anxiety. She garners significant online support with the hashtag Justice for Kayla, which started trending. Then on April 30th, Australian influencer Michaela Testa posted a TikTok video to 24 million views accusing Charles of a romantic and sexual relationship with Johnson, claiming Charles housed him to post-arrest to, quote, sleep with him. This video then ignites widespread outrage because not only has he harbored a, known abuser, they've then slept with them. Then on May 1st, Malik's sister Ashley posts a video to TikTok confirming the rumors of Charles' connection to Johnson. Zach Sellers appears on the Be Better podcast, alleging flirty texts between Charles and Johnson. For example, Charles calling Johnson daddy and sending shirtless photos, and claiming Charles asked him to remove exposing videos. Other YouTubers then post video essays summarizing the allegations, gaining 101,000 views. And then on May 4th to 5th, the hashtag James Charles Unfollow trends on TikTok, with the video, documenting Charles's follower loss. For example, the video with 420,000 views and 1.4, and then on Social Blade, reports of Charles approximately losing 700,000 followers. So it basically was a trend to unfollow James Charles. Then on May 6th, Charles posts on his TikTok story stating, "I do not support Evan Johnson," and promises not to comment publicly until after Johnson's May 7 hearing per a private agreement with Malik. Then on May 7th, of course, that was yesterday at the time of recording, Johnson's court hearing occurs in Sumner County, Tennessee, and Malik wins her domestic violence case, and Johnson is arrested. Again, post-hearing, Malik posted an emotional TikTok video outside the courthouse declaring justice was served and confirming Johnson's incarceration, and Charles posted a 10-minute video denying a sexual or romantic relationship with Johnson, condemning Johnson's actions, and announcing plans to pursue legal action against tester, sellers, and others spreading, quote, misinformation. Woo! So, that's a brief timeline. But, like I said there, it was confirmed via Kayla that he has been incarcerated. That is Evan, through a video here.
That justice was served. Justice was served. I'm like really happy right now. I'm gonna probably start sobbing, but I'll tell you all the details. But I won. Fucker's in jail right now. Fucker got arrested in front of me. I was the last face he fucking saw. I feel like I'm gonna cry. I've never shaken so much in my life. I was the last face that fucker saw. I'm gonna start sobbing.
So yeah, there you are. Basically incarcerated and arrested. And true to his word, James Charles then uploaded his video talking about how he does not condone the actions of Evan, and basically goes against all the sentiments that they were harboring them for, sexual relations and stuff like this, in an over 10-minute TikTok video posted here.
I do not support Evan Johnson in any way, shape, or form. Let me make that fucking clear. I don't support him, I don't support violence against women, and I sure as hell do not support the disgusting, deplorable, violent, heinous acts that he committed against Kayla Malik behind closed doors. I really fucking hope and pray that when this goes to court this week, Kayla gets justice for what that man put her through. At the same time, the videos that I'm currently seeing all over my For You page are disturbing to me. This is not TikTok tea and drama for everyone else's entertainment. This is real people dealing with some really serious shit. The conversation has completely shifted focus away from Kayla Malik and how she was brave enough to speak out about what she went through to how James Charles involved, the downfall, Bye Sister 2.0, where's the apology video? It's distracting from the actual issue at hand, which is domestic violence. I have not spoken out about this for a couple of different reasons. The main one being, this is going to court this week. Anything I or anybody else says online can and probably will be used by either Evan's defense attorney or the judge to affect the outcome of its ruling. And I didn't want to put Kayla at any risk for that. I hate that I'm getting online and filming this video right now, but I truthfully have no other choice because I've also spent the last several weeks trying to get in contact with the only person involved in this that actually matters and needs to hear the truth, and that's Kayla Malik. And she has been unwilling to have a conversation with me. And frankly, I don't fucking blame her. After I watched the laughable interview between Be Better and Zach Sellers, I wouldn't want to have a conversation with me either if I was being fed complete bullshit lies and misinformation from the person whose only source of information is the same man that lied to and abused me for 9 months straight. At this point, I have no choice other than to get online, tell my story, and then prove my story to be true in a court of law. I am suing Zach Sellers and anybody else that thinks it's funny or entertaining to get online and spread defamatory and slanderous lies, misinformation, completely bullshit made-up stories for the sake of views, likes, engagement, and galaxies. I'm done. This all started at the beginning of 2025 when I reached out to Kayla about her and Evan being in a Valentine's Day video together. She told me she couldn't, she was crashing out because they had just broken up because he was crazy. I tried to lighten the mood a little bit and make a lighthearted joke asking could I have him now, and then asked what actually happened between them. All she told me was that he did awful things to her and that I would find out more in her 30-part TikTok series. She said she was upset that she helped build his platform based off of lies and abuse, and whenever she was healed, she was going to get online and expose him. I'm going to be so honest, I did not take this conversation very seriously. And obviously, now knowing what we all do, I fucking should have. Reading it back now, it is super clear that she was using humor to cope, and that is perfectly fine and valid. But at the time, I genuinely interpreted these messages as a messy breakup. Maybe he cheated, maybe they got into a drunken argument that ended badly. I could have never imagined what she was actually going through behind the scenes. A lot of Kayla's own friends and family have said they had no idea what she was going through. I wish I could go back in time and been there for her, tried to help her. I wish that I would have asked more questions, but frankly, I didn't feel comfortable doing so. First and foremost, she obviously wasn't ready to talk about it yet based on her last message. And secondly, me and Kayla Malik just weren't close friends. I don't say that to take away from her feelings about this. I don't say that to undermine what she went through. We've only met a couple of times. We collabed in 2023, she guest starred on a podcast with me in 2024, and we hung out at our mutual friend's Halloween party back in October. We've never hung out one-on-one. We've never had a deep conversation. I just really didn't know her that well to be able to interpret these messages and have a better idea of what was actually happening behind closed doors. And I wish more than anything I did, because I should have never gotten involved with this, but I did not know what she was going through. I really fucking hate to admit it, but I did have a brief friendship with Evan Johnson that started and ended well before I ever learned about any of the violence that was going on behind the scenes. He reached out to me a couple of days later asking me for advice and told me the same exact story that Zach Sellers believed and then repeated on the Be Better podcast, which was that the relationship was toxic, they both said things and did things that they shouldn't have, and a bunch of other stories that genuinely made me believe Evan Johnson was the victim in the situation. He told me that he moved back to Nashville to go to church and get therapy and try to become a better man, and he seemed vulnerable. He seemed real, and he seemed scared that Kayla was going to get online and start telling lies about him, and he knew exactly what to say to relate it back to a situation that I was in that made me have sympathy for him and be on his side. I feel so fucking dumb for ever believing him, but when I was in a similar situation, all I cared about was anybody treating me like a human being and hearing me out and being there for him, so that's what I tried to provide. We became closer, we would start FaceTiming, he was very suicidal and depressed, and eventually he told me that he wanted to come out to LA to escape and get his mind off of things for a weekend, so I invited him out. All we did was sit on the couch, order food, watch movies, but over the course of the weekend, I slowly started to notice that some of his stories were not exactly lining up. There were inconsistencies, and I started to get worried that I might be on the wrong side of things, and that was confirmed as soon as Kayla noticed that he was at my house and I had to lie to her. I didn't know what to do. I realized then that I was in the middle of a very fucking messy situation that I should have never gotten involved with in the first place, but this man was staying with me and I didn't know how to get out of it. Later on that night, I told Evan straight up I was uncomfortable, I was upset that I had to lie to her, and that we could not hang out any further. He respected that, and the next morning, he flew home.
Right, so the conversation goes on a lot more, but obviously, even within James Charles's response, right, that straight off the bat, it all seemed to be going well, and then, you know, their response completely derailed towards the end. You know, basically going against a lot of what he said earlier in the video, and then kind of coming back, and it was a bit messy of a response, to be fair. Though I do agree that everyone kind of pinning it on James Charles and, you know, shifting the narrative does kind of take away from the serious allegations that are ongoing, but now that's been dealt with in a court of law. But as you can imagine, a lot of people have responded to this. One person, of course, even being Kayla Malik herself, where she stitched the video and responded with this.
I do not support Evan Johnson in any way, shape, or form, and let me make that fucking clear. I don't support him, I don't support violence against women, and I sure as hell do not support the disgusting, deplorable, violent, heinous acts that he committed against Kayla Malik behind closed doors.
Oh, I know. Trust me, y'all, I know. And all I could say right now is after court, but
Tea is about to be spilt, ladies and gentlemen. Tea is about to be spilt, and Kayla has also released some voice notes from James Charles that appear to have come from someone else, which basically goes against what James Charles said within their response, and basically sums up the internet's thoughts and opinions on James Charles, because the voice notes completely go against the whole 10-minute apology or, you know, response video to allegations, and it's not a good look, James.
The amount of times that she played victim over Evan was ridiculous, and somehow managed to make it about her.
But don't tell no lie about me, and I won't tell truths about you.
Oof. So, Yeah, it's not looking particularly good for James Charles right now, and it's not looking good for, well, Evan Johnson, as he's obviously behind bars. James Charles is getting cancelled once again in 2025. We should have left him in 2018, 2019, whenever that first scandal was. But imagine just getting your career back on track after like groveling for 5 or 6 years to then suddenly completely derail it once again. It's just the way of James Charles, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Way down there, jump to get the hell out of that like button and subscribe. Until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.